Yes, a blessed good afternoon to everyone. If you're ready or not, Jesus is coming. Yes, we are here once again, Youth Energy Fridays, and I know it's a different vibes because it's your boy Christ Child on. This is a special edition of Youth Energy Fridays. We know DJ Sabi is out there having the event down at what do you call it now? Foxing, I know it has. We have a new name right now. I'll get to that just now, but I'm in studios tonight, and we have a special edition of ISCF Connect. You know, every first Friday of the month, we link up with ISCF, and we talk about some very important issues. ISCF is for Inter-School Christian Fellowship, and they're out there, spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout in the schools, spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ amongst the students, just ensuring that Jesus Christ is preached outside of the four walls of the church and in the schools, in the schoolhouse, and gaining souls for Christ on that battleground. Yeah, so we're here tonight with ISCF, and it's gonna be very interesting because tonight we're talking about youth and environment. All right, we had a series over the last couple of months on different areas of stewardship. We kind of ended up the series, and now tonight we are talking about youth and the environment. So share the live, share the link, invite someone to come on. We have some very knowledgeable, enthusiastic, passionate panelists that will be on. As you can see on the side of me, I'm here with Russell John. He's in studio. He is in studio. Before he was on linking up, but he said, nah, I have to be in studio for this one. So he's here with me, and in a while I will just turn it over to him because he will be the host of this segment of this session. All right. So just relax, stay tuned. We have a lot for you in store.
It doesn't pick up.
I want you to know that the power of the church is still alive. We come to chase demons in the name of Jesus. My God. Awesome. I know one prayer we pray. We pray in a night and we pray in a day. And every time we go on my knees, devil have to run away. Say I know one prayer we pray. We pray in a night and we pray.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in to Youth Energy Friday and ISCF Connect this evening. I have been given the honor of hosting this evening's session, and I'm coming in this evening as a learner. The topic that we have for this evening, I have no shame in saying that I am not well versed, and I'm looking forward to hearing from our panelists this evening. We have a few members from the Community College Christian Fellowship. They'll be joining us, and we have alongside them a few environmental activists and specialists and men who know about the environment and know their thing well. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from our panelists this evening, and of course I'm looking forward to hearing from you, our listeners or viewers in the chats on the lives. Feel free to drop your questions in there as well. So at this point, I want to bring in a few of the panelists for this evening. So we have Mr. Trevon St. Bernard. He'll be joined by Mr. Johan Hoshtialek, and a familiar face to you guys, Menelik Monroe. I had the pleasure of sharing the live with Menelik before, and the lone female amongst the group right now, Miss Jada Glean. All right. So our panelists are in. Good evening, everyone. Let me know how you're doing.
Good evening. Good evening.
Awesome.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry. I'm having a little trouble with the video.
That's Jada in there. Excellent. So I want to just toss this one out as an opener. like I said, I'm this isn't my area of expertise, so I'm really looking forward to getting insight from you on this one. When you look around at our world, I've heard the statement before that the earth is in crisis. I want to start with Johan on this one. Johan, is that an accurate statement? Is the earth in crisis?
Sadly, absolutely. I think we're in a situation where, unless we quickly wake up and smell the coffee, the world is headed down a path that is apocalyptic. If we don't change.
Okay, I'm gonna stick a pin on that thought. You said apocalyptic. That alone has my heart racing as is. Let me get Dennison. You're an environmental activist, right? Or rather, Christ child. You're. So, what say you? Is the Earth in crisis? Are we heading to this apocalyptic future?
Well, I would say that a big part of that depends on our actions as human beings. There is a possibility that we can head to crisis. There's a possibility that we can't. A lot of it depends on human action. Russell didn't. Well, I didn't mention that, but tonight I'm representing the Caribbean Youth Environment Network (CYEN). All right, and as part of this organization, our mandate is to create awareness for persons on the impacts of our actions on the environment and how we can help the environment. How can we help the environment to help us to continue our existence in the future to come? So I will agree that we can head on to that apocalyptic phase. Depends on our actions, depends on the decisions we make as human beings.
Awesome. So you're representing CYEN tonight.
Yeah.
Johan, sticking with you just a bit, I believe I read an article recently about a world tour that you guys are doing. Yeah, would you like to tell us a quick bit about that before we jump back into some more questions?
Sure, no problem. God's willing, come November 7th, on the start of COP27, we'll be leading a convoy of like-minded individuals, journalists, scientists, eco-warriors, etc., all 195 countries of the world in 375 days, crisscrossing all the everywhere to show that we're connected, to bring awareness and education, and more importantly, mobilization, so people could continue doing more to change the trajectory we're on.
That's a massive undertaking.
It is. Absolutely. It is a Herculean task that is faith-driven, and this is why I'm very happy at this meeting presently. But I believe, just like the planet, that we can make it happen. Yes, we can.
I'm looking forward to hearing more about those travels and seeing the impact that you're going to have. At the end of the day, it does start with us, whatever we decide to do about the future that we're looking to build. And as we mentioned the future, I'd like to bring in our guests from the CCCF this evening, the Community College Christian Fellowship. So the question earlier was posed, is our world in crisis? Two environmental activists say yes. You are the future, cliche phrase. What do you, as young people, say in response to that statement? The world is in crisis. Is that the case, or is it an exaggeration? Is it overblown? What say you? I'll put Trevon on the spot to begin with, and then I'll head over to Menelik and Jada for the last.
Yes, thank you. I don't think that's an exaggeration by any means. I think we're at a stage where It's no longer theoretical. I think there has been consensus in the scientific community that global warming and climate change and matters of environmental sustainability really pose a crisis to young people and people across the world, really. We've seen examples in Dominica, we've seen examples in Grenada, we've seen examples throughout small island developing states where our territories are being ravaged by storms. And so, therefore, it is accurate to say that we are in a crisis. Now, whether it's apocalyptic, as Mr. Hosky Alex said, I think it depends on us. We are at a stage where we can still turn it around, we can adapt to measures, we can mitigate, and so we should all build some kind of concerted effort to do those things.
Excellent insight there, Trevon. Menelik, what say you?
Well, I would say that it is in crisis. Well, not just recently, you can notice that there is a lot of extinction in fisheries and other areas, so I should say that I would say that was in crisis. And all this could cause like extinction of species, so I should say.
Excellent. Jada, weigh in on this one for us.
Good evening again, everybody. I must share the same sentiment as Trevon Menelik. I agree that the world is in crisis, environmentally related. We growing up would have heard a lot about climate change, deforestation, global warming, and that kind of brought some sort of awareness to us. I don't think I'm very versed on environment-related issues, but I must agree that it is.
Excellent. So, Jada, you're like me this evening, and we're definitely going to learn from the room and learn from each other. So we have come to a consensus. The Earth currently is in a state, or rather heading to a state of crisis. One underlying commonality that I heard throughout all of this was us as the potential solution to this avoiding this crisis that the Earth is in. I want to pose a question though. How did we get here? Who caused this crisis? Is this a natural flow of actions, or are there some culprits? And if they are culprits, who are the culprits? Johan, I'm gonna toss this one over to you first.
With great pleasure. Because I think it's important that we, as people, regardless whether we're Grenadian, we're Chinese, Indian, American, and I just use those because they're three of the largest so-called looters. But I'm saying I do not believe it is the Americans' fault or the Chinese or the Indian fault. It is all of our fault. We as people have one. Excuse if I put it, abused our responsibility on this earth. And for too long, everybody's thinking of their own selves. And yes, pollution may be caused in these large developed countries or developing countries, but it's for all our consumption. So it is a general feeling that we all have a part to bear. On wherever we are and wherever we're going to go. And underlying behind that, I think comes a very important part of biblical sayings. We are our neighbor's keeper. And if we were to be showing the love for our neighbors as for ourselves, a lot of the things that we are doing, whether it is to animals or environment on a whole, we would be acting differently. And should we adopt this sort of new lifestyle or lifestyle that was previous there, I think we can change it.
Denison, what say you? This was a profound bit of sharing there from you, Anne. What say you on this one?
I must say I agree with him in the fact that ever since we had the Industrial Revolution, and even more so after the 1945, after the end of the Second World War and so on. And we started to produce. One of the main driving force of production was the level of consumerism. Right, we need to push the economy, so let's just produce stuff for people, so people can consume, so that money can be spent, so that we can continue to grow economies. And we pass over to this new era of technocratic consumerism, where everybody is consuming. It basically is a habitual thing now. It is said that we millennials, right? The millennials, the Gen Zs, most of the millennials, let's say those who born between 1980 to 1995, 96, we spend the most money in any other generation. We are the generation that believe that we no longer believe as our grandparents and our parents, where I must work hard for all my life, and then when I'm finished and retire, then I'll spend my money, then I'll go and take that trip, I'll go and buy that fancy car, or so on. We believe that we have to have it now, enjoy life now. So we work, we spend, we work, we spend, and they have the industries have fed into that habit and fed us. Actually, the industries has led us to that state where we believe that if we're not consuming, then we're not progressing as a people, right? And that consumption has to come from somewhere, has to be driven by something, and the constant production, the constant producing, and our production comes with two things: waste, and it comes with what I call it, the base products, right? So you have to cut the trees, you have to produce waste when you put to make these consumption products. You have to get the raw materials for these products, and to that cause, you realize that we're in a situation where we either drastically change our way of living, which is harder to do, or we just continue passing on the problem to the future generation. So we won't deal with it now, so let our children deal with that. We just want to consume and consume, and I think and that feeds into the problem, in that we recognize that there's a problem. We see that what it can do, but no one is willing to change their lifestyle or change the way of doing things in order for there to be a change. So we continue to pass it on. We say, well, somebody in the future will solve it, but right now it's important for us to consume. So I think you can pinpoint it to a particular country, as my brother said, is that yes, we say the bigger countries are the one who are doing the production, who are doing the pollution, who are scraping the country of its resources. But at the end of the day, we consume as well. We import the stuff. We are always on Amazon buying. We are always on eBay buying. We are always on Shein buying. We are always importing all the things that we need. So we all are part of it, whether we like to admit it or not.
That one is weighty, Denison. So it what I'm hearing is that we generally have created that problem, both from a production side and a consumption side.
Yes.
So there are people producing because we demand these products.
Yes, of course, yes.
And I'm also hearing that we have been passing this problem forward. And if that's the case, Trevon, Jada, Menelik, this is about to land in your laps.
Yeah, definitely.
So I wanna put you guys on the spot now. Would you lay, or what amount of blame would you lay at the feet of us millennials who have gone before you for the state that the world is in currently?
I think it goes even further back, further than millennials, like Mr. Dennison said. When you look at the industrialization, I was a student of history. You see, of course, we could attribute blame at the feet of the larger, more developed countries for production. But like you said, we're all complicit in this system because we consume. And therefore, our modern system, our entire economies are kind of built and around this system of fossil fuel emission, high fossil fuel emission, that is. And so, how do we sort of assuage this problem? And like you said, Mr. John, we actually have the power to do so. And just to draw an example, when you look at it's a current trend, sorry, that companies will hire professionals to look at whether their business practices meet ESG criteria, so the environmental social governance criteria. So there are investors actually who are interested in whether the companies that they're investing into meet those kinds of requirements. So companies therefore are going to be more amenable to putting into place certain practices that are environmentally friendly and that protect the integrity, sorry, of the environment. And I say therefore that we do have the power to effect change and not to veer too much into the political realm. But when we participate in the political process, we too can put people into government who actually align with our views, whose mandates and programs on the environment actually reflect what we want to see. Because when you look at the reality, right, we know that there are so many international treaties, international agreements, multilateral agreements that talk about protecting the environment. But the hard truth is that there's no hard enforcement of them because, as a student of law, we understand that environmental law is not coercive. States have sovereignty within their jurisdictions, and so the most they can do for is kind of provide guidelines. So when it comes to ratification and the implementation of local laws, that's where we should use our political might to put into power persons who have actual plans for the environment. So that's a possible solution, I might say.
That's a very wise answer, Trevon. A very wise answer, and it gives a bit to think about for folks like Menelik and Jada, right? That's one potential way that we could mitigate the effects of climate change and the damage that's being done to our environment. Jada, I know you have aspirations in the political field. What say you in regards to the policies that are necessary, and how do we make that change? How do we get to that point where we move beyond agreeing to things in principle and just having a paper and a picture to show that we signed on to XYZ treaty?
Thank you, Mr. John. I must say, Trevon has given me a lot to think about, seeing that I aspire to be in that political realm also. Um, I think it's a really good take. I've never thought about it that way. Again, I'm not really first on the environment aspect of things. I'm more on the political side. But seeing that we put people there that would actually care about the environment and put things in place that would protect our people, I think that's a really good thing to think about. I guess I would have to go into it deeper in future. But thank you for that, Trevon.
Excellent, excellent. Menelik, weigh in here. Um, we're just out of an election cycle, and so how important do you see that side of things? And I ask particularly because I know that there's a tendency for believers, Christians, to shy away from anything that has the word politics in it, right? Weigh in here as a young person.
So to be honest, I'm agreeing with Trevon concerning putting laws in place to protect the environment. But if push come to shove that the government, I ain't saying they wouldn't, or let me say that they put it in place that protecting the environment, like put measures in place to protect the environment, I will go out and support. And if things are not happening, I'll complain about it.
That's right. Let me just add.
Go ahead, Nelson.
Let me just add something with regards to policy and actual environmental actions. Um, there's always this disconnect between the policies that are in place and the practical aspect of how these policies are turned into actual actions that impact the environment. to the point where environmental friendliness or climate change or anything around that area has been so politicized, is basically sensationalized to the point where everybody is doing it for political clout, to gain political favor with a particular group of people, to basically seem to be in the thing, right? So the woke thing right now is to be political activist, politically mind, not political activist, environmental activist, environmentally aligned, and we see that coming to the point where everybody wants to look or seem or have the appearance of being environmentally friendly, but a lot of it is just smoke screens, right? We have companies that actually pay to pollute, right? And they say pay to pollute is something that helps, but really and truly, what they're doing, they're basically passing off the problem to another country. So they will invest monies, let's say, in an environmentally friendly project in Grenada, right? So that they can pollute in Asia, right? And because they have this, what you call it, environmental climate points or so on and so forth, they say, well, they can now pollute in Asia because they have invested in a particular project in Grenada or in some other part of the world. And as effective or goodwill these projects or these initiatives may seem, when we come down to the grit of it, is it actually accomplishing the objective that we have? All right, we all know about 1.5 degrees, and well, before it was 2 degrees, now it's 1.5, and well, it was 1.5, now it's 2. We keep raising the bar, and all these initiatives that we have. That we have set up to give us that idea that we are doing something. But I want to push the younger generation that we do not fall into the same cycle of, you know, activism just for show, or political decisions or passing laws just for the political clout of it, but actually have a passion for the environment and find that balance, because there are some who goes to the other extreme, which basically say human beings should be extinct so that so that nature can flourish. But we can find that balance once we are very um, intentional about it, not have any second intentions of it, but intentional that I am environmentally conscious. I believe in sustainable development, sustainable growth, and what can I do to play my part to ensure that this comes to light.
Very interesting thought, Dennison, and immediately I'm prompted to toss um and ask for a response from Johan. You're about to go across the entire world and engage with some, in some cases, some of the people who are practicing the said things that Dennison just outlined. So, what are your thoughts on what Dennison is saying? Is it well, I'm, I'm actually seeing in the chat here somebody is asking that same question. Is it woke to be environmentally active? Is it just a trend now?
Sadly, well, actually, I wouldn't say sadly. In a good way, yes, it is. But it is important to get the message out. But I would like to backtrack a bit to the political aspect of things. The sad part is that too many times people use this for political mileage. But I honestly do believe there can be consensus on things that we can all do as start, or all start doing, low hanging fruit that we can start to address on a global scale. And climate change, folks, is just one of the things. We have plastic pollution, we have deforestation, we have multiple things out there. So if it's not one that may take us down, it may be the other. But I think it is a fundamental shift in how we are looking at our lives in this world that is going to be making the difference. Yeah. So if we can say, yes, politically, it would be great to get these parties on board, which is the desire. Yeah. It is to get people to mobilize their councillors or the different people in politics to do this. But it is also to find simple solutions that are out there that parties, whether you're on the left or the right, Republican, Democrat, or whatever, yeah, that we can all agree, look, we have challenges out there. And if we work together, and if we see that these are common problems that we, not only parents, but that our kids are facing, yeah, that we can say, okay, let's put the partisanship aside. Let us put the challenges that people like to put in, or the special interests people like to put in, be it from racism, be it from other challenges people have, or views that they may have. Put that aside and let's look at the core fundamental goals that we have across it. It's to make this world a better place. And if we can all agree we want a better place for the world, then let's say, okay, these are the things. Let's put it aside and find simple solutions right here, right now, that can buy us time while we figure out all the hard things. And I'll just give you a very simple example that I saw a few days ago. In Guatemala, the plastics running down the river, going into the sea for massive pollution into the Pacific. And some international organization put a massive net as trying as a solution to trap the plastic, to take it out before it goes into the sea. Simple solutions that can work to help slow down the process we have in certain cases while we figure out the bigger problems. So those were my 2 pence on that.
Excellent, and two very expensive and worthwhile pins from you, Johan. But you are challenging you are challenging us as people, and you're challenging our mentality, our way of thinking, our way of being. And from a biblical worldview, man is considered the steward of the earth, and a lot of the series that we've done in over the last few weeks has looked at man as a steward, right? You identified one really practical, simple thing that could be done. I want to toss out to our younger panelists, what, if anything, can you as young people do? Right? Does anything come to mind? Is there anything that you feel collectively amongst yourselves as the generation who's really going to have to deal with the fallout of uh, um, a couple hundred years of unfiltered pollution and pure disregard for the fact that we have to live here eventually? What are you prepared to do as young people? You're eventually going to take over the country, right? What are you prepared to do? Trevon, I know you're in law, so I'm going to start with you. Um, let me hear what you say to this one.
Well, so let me just you mentioned mentality, and I just want to piggyback off that to say that it is important that we change how we view environmental issues. Um, Very often, we think that matters of the environment should be taken up by environmentalists or activists. We think of it as being very niche, but the consequences are far reaching. And in truth, everyone is affected. Look, just a simple example, the tropical wave, a lot of us couldn't function at work. We were sent home regardless of your work because of it. So it's not just one group of people who are affected, it's everyone. And therefore, we must make a concerted effort to mitigate and to be more environmentally friendly. So I would say things like simply reducing your carbon footprint would be something easy. It doesn't have to take a lot. We could always admonish our parents or families to do simple things. Buy those light bulbs that save that those energy saving light bulbs. When you don't have lights in certain in rooms that are not in use, take them off. Don't have the AC on, the fan on, and no one in the room. Simple stuff like that. Watch your diet. These are simple things because we do know that livestock farming does release a lot of methane, greenhouse gases, and that does contribute to the issue. And I think a lot of people undervalue and they underestimate the impact that their individual contribution would make towards the fight against climate change. Because I do appreciate how daunting it may seem. Okay, well, I'm just picking up trash on the beach. How is this going to make a big difference in the grand scheme of things? Look, there are big companies that are manufacturing thousands of different things daily. how am I actually making a dent in the reduction of greenhouse gases? Actually, if we go to think like that, nothing will get done. Because if you look at it from a cumulative effect, when different people, individuals all together around the world make that concerted effort, it definitely is going to make a huge impact. So the change starts with us. In terms of how I would use my legal career, I think I am really passionate about environmental issues as of recent. I did a few courses, and I think I can look into how to, like I was talking about the ESG and ensuring that different companies meet the requirements. So that's how you intersect your legal training with the environment. And in different ways, we can incorporate different things. So if we're an IT technician, we could find ways to be environmentally friendly as well. You don't have to specifically work in the environment or something like that, but because it's something that's so ubiquitous, we could always incorporate it. So that's my contribution on that point.
Excellent, and thank you so much for sharing that. Menelik, weigh in here. What about you? Trevon touched on the fact that it can seem like our individual efforts really don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. I remember hearing a comment one time that when we were considering switching from plastic bags to the bags that we have now, and somebody said, "Well, um, it's 10 cents for a plastic bag, a dollar and something for these new bags." My one little plastic bag, what that doing to the earth, right? Is how important is it for our individual actions? Do they really add up? Right? Can we really make a dent in this? And I have to put these questions to you guys because for all we know, Johan and I, Dennison, we're on our way out. So you guys are gonna be stuck with this thing. All right. Can you guys really make a difference? And what can you do from your individual standpoint?
One thing I would say is that Trevor have a point, but I believe that it is making a dent because we as students, young people, we have a good mindset. We're creative. All of us have this level of creativity, and we must find ways of doing so. Like we could make videos, we could do blogging. We have so much things we could do as young people to bring the environmental awareness out there. So I would say we are making a thing called like one, not even one, a group of us should just go picking up plastic and Trevor have a point, it might not make a much difference. But we can attack this situation in so many different ways. So that's all I have to say.
Excellent. And that is true. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how you guys will eventually begin tackling this problem. And I shouldn't say you guys, I should say us and we guys. Johan, I feel like you have something you want to chime in here. So just jump in there for me.
Yes, I would just like to go biblical for 2 seconds.
That's it.
Yeah, you remember Moses? You remember when God said to him, "Come, bring our people out of here," and he said, "Who, me? No. I am just a simple man." I'm saying to you, I am a simple father. My daughter's a simple 17-year-old. Grenada is the 11th smallest country in the world. Yeah, but it does not make a difference on size, age, sex, gender, none of this. Any and everybody can get together and say, I want to make a change, and I can and will make a change. And that is the fundamental thing that we are saying, one, to the youth, because they're the ones that have to lead the change. But that we're saying to everyone, do never feel that you are too small or too insignificant on the scope of things to make a change. Look at the Bible there, Gideon, hundreds of examples where anybody, and look, just this Greta child, she could have said the same thing. She's done a lot to galvanize the youth to say, we want a better world for ourselves. So who is Greta differently to you or to the others across there? No different. She has simply just said, I want to make a difference and I shall make a difference. And this is something, if we were to leave here right now, I would say this: have faith in the Lord, trust in it, and move forward with this direction to say that I can contribute and I will contribute to make a better future for us. Thank you.
Amen to that one.
Amen.
I feel like I
Even
just
the dog, even the dog understood.
even the dog said
Yes.
amen to that one. So Jada, I know you have to run out. I just wanna allow you an opportunity to share. Again, you're you are rather politically minded. So talk to us about what do you think young people like yourself, single individual like yourself, what can you do to make a difference in the face of what seems to be a daunting issue?
Let me dodge my direct question for a few. I just want to tackle the question you posed at Trevor and Menelik. I think I posted my answer in the chat, but I was saying that first of all, we need to build awareness. I know it has been happening because, I mean, as I stated earlier, since we were in primary school, we were speaking about deforestation, climate change, stuff like that. But I think we really need to gather the youth and let them know, okay, this is the issues that is affecting us as a country. So that's the first question that you would have posed to Trevon. The question you posed to Menelik, um, I was going to say one coke will fill the basket. I don't know if you guys know that saying. I grew up with my grandmother, so I hear these things all the time.
Okay. That's it.
And even as individuals, the little things we do can make a big difference at some point. My desire, my aspiration to be a politician may be just the spark to bringing about a big change here in Grenada. So that's just me posing to answering the two questions. I'm sorry that I have to run out, but let me just take the time to say thank you for the opportunity to be here with you guys. I would say, Trevor, you've given me a lot to think about now and in the future. Thank you for that. And for the host, thank you very much again for having me. Mr. John, good night, everybody.
All right, so thank you very much for joining us, Jada, and let me not be too biased, but Jada 2027 now. Perhaps we have a campaign to to fund.
Yes.
But I want to toss a question. Oh, see, oftentimes I find when it comes to issues and challenges, problems, it it doesn't become real until it hits home or it hits close to home, right? And so here we are in the land of spice, pure Grenada. There's this gem where it seems like we've sheltered and nothing really affects us, right? What's happening here in Grenada that can tell us that there is a problem that Grenada is facing or Grenada is about to face if we don't change course. So I'll start with you, Denison, and then Johan and the others can weigh in after.
Well, we can see it. We can definitely see it. First of all, I know we've seen the not only the intensity but the frequency of hurricanes that we have in these seasons. And some may say, "Oh, we've always had hurricanes. We've always had storms. We've always had so on." So, but you can see that the patterns, the time that they start, the time that the season's finishing. We've seen a shift in just the regular cycle of the seasons. We growing up, you've known that January to June dry season, June to December is rainy season. Now we're not really sure what's going on. You're getting heavy rain in January, you're getting drought in the middle of August, all kind of different things. And these things will tend to get worse if we don't step in and start to impact change. But not only on that side of it, we have the impacts of pollution, on our fisheries, the places that we used to find abundance of fish. Right now, we're not finding any fish. We have our reefs getting eroded, and the kind of life and the variety of the sea life that Grenada was known for. You're hearing fishermen saying that back when they were small, back in the days, you will find certain fishes, or fishing was easier around certain areas. Now you have to go further out and so on. So there are a lot of different impacts of it. Not only the climate change aspect, the pollution aspect of it, and not only the pollution aspect of it, but also we have the overproduction and the overuse of land. And as Johan rightfully said, there are so many different areas that we need to look at. But just looking around Grenada, you will see the impact of our actions on the environment.
Okay. You can continue here.
Yes, absolutely. I think you've touched on two of many of the things that are going to be coming our way and have already started coming our way. Microplastics, something that's very seldom discussed. They've said in the next 9 years, plastic pollution will be even worse than what some say. I mean, I am one of them, than climate change. Yeah, but the challenge we have globally with plastics and the degrading of plastics into everything that we find from in the fish to the air we breathe, etc., even down in the Antarctic, you find it. That's one of the things. But I would like to go a little bit further down the line where we may not be thinking directly. Yes, we've had the Ukraine war, which has caused some challenges, but because of we live in a global world with global consumption, and things that happen in one area affects the other. Yeah, food prices, food and the scarcity of food, and because it is, anybody in economics would tell you supply and demand. Look at the prices of flour. Because you have a decrease in supply in areas which have had great farming, yeah, the prices globally are going up. So you see massive cases of people facing poverty, starvation, or such things like that. Plus, I'll add to, excuse me, our economy. Our economy is tourism based. Yeah, people don't like too much rain coming in. The uncertainty of rain and other things that may be coming our way or have already started coming our way, or the fact that because people are becoming or more conscious of their travel, etc., you may have people less inclined to be traveling with a plane under the present circumstances until we have different types of fuel being used and stuff like that. And these are overall things that we are starting to see and have to embrace in terms of us as people in moving forward and the type of society or economy that we have, i.e., this sort of fast trend of what we're eating, what we're drinking, and what we're wearing, etc. This fast consumption, easy throwaway. And so these are things that have and will be continuing to affect us as a country. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Trevor, you can.
No, could I just add one
Yeah, go ahead.
thing because I might forget it. You talked earlier about things that we can do. And I have to also say, we do not do enough for composting in this country, because this is our way that we could also be helping with our methane gases that we are emitting going into the perseverance. So sorry, I just wanted to make sure that we brought that in, about things we can do easily to change things. Yes, sorry.
Excellent, excellent. Not definitely don't apologize for that one. So Trevor, weigh in here.
Yes, you guys have both said a lot, and I was really going to speak about the problem of food insecurity, because we do import a lot from these foreign countries. And so, with the current climate, with everything getting worse and worse, clearly that's going to be affected. And when you look at our dominant productive sectors, you spoke about tourism. Our ability to promote Grenada as an ecotourism destination is obviously going to be affected. When you look at our reliance on fisheries, when you look at our environment, our reliance on forestry, our reliance on the natural resources, obviously they're going to be affected. And I think that's one way we're going to see climate change impacting our economies. And so it's important that we do take action to mitigate and to adapt as soon as possible. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. And so, Menelik, you're gonna weigh in finally on this one, and after you weigh in, I want to toss a question out. And tell me if you've ever heard the statement throw something away. Where is away?
Wait a minute.
Because
Yeah.
I grew up and there was a cliff uh, way behind our house where you take your garbage and you throw it over the cliff.
Just throw it away.
So Menelik, let me know if you had similar experiences.
Out of sight, out of mind.
And that's the thing, out of sight, out of mind. But
yeah.
where exactly is away when we throw something away?
Definitely.
Right? And is that idea of out of sight, out of mind contributing to where we are right now?
Yeah.
So Menelik, how do we know that Grenada is actually, Paradise Island is actually feeling the effects of environmental issues.
Okay, well, concerning that, I will agree to the answers Trevor gave recently, but you can see it all around. Like just recently in supermarkets, you notice that we had a decrease on sugar. We're not getting sugar. Like all shelves blank on sugar, and like you could see in certain areas we're not self-sufficient, and that where food security comes in. So I believe that the country need to be more self-sufficient. Like we have Caribbean Arbor next to the car. They're
Mm.
responsible for making feed and flour. So in other areas of Ireland, Grenada is known as the island of spice, cocoa, nutmeg. But there are certain areas I believe we could increase on in other plants. So I would say that. And concerning throwing away stuff, based on what you're throwing, I don't really believe in throwing plastics away. So like old mango skin and all these other stuff. You can make it as compost and use
Right.
it. And other thing. You had so much ideas we could do, and I believe it's possible to recycle.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. So thank you very much for weighing in on that. And so we're about 10 minutes
Yeah.
left in our session this evening. But you and I wanna bring you back in, both you and Denison, on this idea of how we get rid of the things that we consume. We are consumer driven people,
Yeah.
right? And that's generally globally. But there's also a trend that it seems like the world, particularly our younger folks, and us included,
Yeah.
we grew up. Our parents grew up surviving.
Right.
They had to get up early in the morning and um, work in the fields and do XYZ in order to literally to make a living.
Right.
If
Yeah.
they didn't get up and work like that, then the chances of them surviving for the year
Yeah.
slim to none.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't, for the most
Yeah.
part,
But yeah.
that wasn't
Yeah.
our life.
Yeah.
So we kind of grew up.
We had a pinch of it when we were young, but then after a while,
At this point, we kind of
yeah.
we're quote unquote thriving,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's kind of a tendency, a move towards luxurious
Yeah,
living,
yes.
right? And so this ties into this idea of out of sight, out of mind,
Yeah.
throwing things away, and how we dispose of the garbage that we create
Yeah.
and we consume.
Mhm.
What do we say to that, and how that both impacts the environment, and then how do you turn that around?
Right. Right. I believe most people think the production cycle or the consumption cycle ends once the garbage truck takes away the garbage. Right. We just put stuff into a bag, we put it by the side of the road, we come back, at the end of the day, it's gone. And we assume we don't even think of what happens after that. And the major impact is what happens after that, right? Added to what happens before in terms of the overproduction and so on. We've all been familiar about the 3 R's, um, reuse, reduce, and recycle. And if and as we spoke about personal responsibility, if we all implement that into our lives, no one is saying that we have to go back or go to the days where we have to fight to survive. You can live have a respectable standard of living without and reduce your carbon footprint at the same time. Right. What people tend to do is that we are not responsible with how we live, not necessarily the quality of life, but how we live out that quality of life. Because I could have a nice car, a nice house, I can go out and do things, but at the same time be responsible towards the environment, towards the future generations. And one of the things that I studied when I was doing my master's degree was eco-efficiency. And basically the whole master's is about eco-efficiency. And that is just basically dealing with how can we go full cycle with everything that we do. All right. So a start product to start product kind of way of living. What did I mean by that? How can I take, if I'm producing, let's say I'm producing soap, how in that process of producing soap I can get an end product that I can also use that end product, whether it be the waste, the final product, whatever comes off of me producing soap, I can put that into something else that will help to produce something else. So at the end of the day, there's nothing wasted.
A circular economy.
Circular economy. Everything is used into something else. And there are simple ways. There are simple ways that we can implement these things in our daily lives, in our daily production cycles, in our factories, in our schools. But I think a lot of things is that push to change that we don't normally we're not enthusiastic about changing our lifestyle and the way of living. Simply, someone recycle. Simple process of recycling. And knowing what to buy, whether to buy carton or whether to buy plastics, whether to buy things in bottles or whether to buy in one use plastic bags. These are simple decisions that won't reduce your level, your standard of living, but it can contribute to reducing your carbon footprint and to helping the environment. So it's not a matter of being environmentally conscious and environmentally friendly, as the word goes to say, doesn't mean that you have to reduce or have a live in poverty or live in lack or not even a minimalist lifestyle. But it just means that you are conscious of the actions that you take and the impact that it will have on your surroundings, and you make wiser decisions to help, right, to add that one cocoa on your side towards ensuring that our future generation have a world that they can live in.
Right.
So, and I think that's what it's about.
Excellent. Yeah, Johan, add your one cocoa to this one.
Well, in my day, we used to say pico fill the pot, but you work with your cocoa. But you made a very good point of your throwaway society. And as the point I made from Guatemala there, sadly, too many of our rivers have been looked as the garbage bin for too many people in the country in the past. And you throw it by the river take it out, so you didn't see it gone. Yeah. Now, being somebody who enjoys diving and seeing the underwater world, sadly, too many of us, because we don't see it doesn't exist. And happily, I have to say the Scuba Diving Association, they have done many cleanups, and the things we have found when the river comes down, it's unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable. But because we don't see it, we don't think it's there or that it's a problem. And this pollution then leads to the fish, blah, 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 going on further. But I'm saying that, yes, if we change our mindset and the way we go about things and become more aware, I think, as I always said, the 3 stages is awareness, education, and then mobilization. In the awareness, and I have to give kudos to the our solid waste department. They have been doing a pretty good job of working on perseverance, whereby they also now are doing tours for the school children, so that the school children in the future could start to see. It's not just, putting your garbage on the side of the road and it disappears, so out of sight, out of mind. But they get to see where it goes and what happens with it. And encouraging in the programs that they had previously and have relaunched with the schools, and which I was also actively involved in with my daughter, etc., in recycling in the school. So you're encouraging your children while in school, because these are the practices that they will go through with life. My generation, we're too old for that. Yeah, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but it's by the next generation that we have to be doing, especially in the schools, to show them, look, recycling practices, growing practices, eat what you grow what you eat. That will work considerably to change the direction we are. And then seeing what the whole product is, so that we can have this sort of circular economy, which we've discussed, will change the path forward. So a lot of peas, we have 100,000 peas. Let me put it in that pot, and I tell you, that pot go overflow.
Yeah. Loving it. Whether it's peas or cocoa, all of us doing a little part. So, Trevor and Menelik, before you guys weigh in, I've heard personal responsibility. I've heard changing mindset. I've heard changing lifestyle. All of these things seem to be what I hear in the gospel.
Yeah, right.
So here we are, and we seem to be wanting this change of a person in order to change the actions that am I wrong in thinking that is that not the tenets of repentance?
Yeah.
A changing mindset. So this leads me to the closing thought question. that I want to just put out there. I'm going to start again with you guys because the young generation are the ones that have to fix it. Where does the decline, the decay in our morality and responsibility fall with respect to the effect that we're seeing um, with regards to climate change?
Right.
Is there a correlation between a change, a fault, a flaw in our morality, right?
Right.
Is there a correlation between that and what we're seeing here now environmentally? And if yes, then does the gospel message tend to that?
Right.
Yeah. So I want to toss that out to you, Trevon, Menelik, and then we'll circle back to the
I
older
don't
generation.
think it's just correlational. I think at a certain point we could say it's causal, because I think, like many of you have indicated, we have not really considered environmental issues. It wasn't something that we were taught about in school. The most that we were told, "Oh, do not pollute," but it goes much deeper than that. And so, for most people who have become environmentalists, they've kind of had to seek out information. And so we would appreciate that there hasn't been this installation of morality, because people are actually, our behaviors are taught and our behaviors are trained. We learn from our environment. And so if we introduce in the younger stages, for example in the primary schools, introduce different kind of sessions, information sessions, where people are taught about climate change matters and the environment, and how they can work and to actually contribute to the fight, and what they can do to make the world a better place in terms of the climate and the environment, then certainly I think that awareness will build to a morality where people will think twice about, let's say, throwing that bottle on the beach, or you're inside the bus and you just throw out something, a sweetie paper. I've seen people do it and they haven't thought twice about it, because I think it's something they have not thought about, they have not seen it really. And a lot of people, they haven't had that level of reflection where they sit down and they realize, look, these we are in different times. We're seeing a lot of tropical storms. We're seeing very variable patterns in the climate. What is causing this? I think a lot of people have not really sat down and thought about it. And I think when they have that kind of, public awareness, that kind of training, that morality will build, and it will translate into being more friendly to the environment, to actually telling your friends, okay, let's not do this, let's actually throw our trash away and actually sort through and try to recycle stuff that can be recycled. So I think that that's something that we definitely should build. And I think Mr. Hostialik spoke about the solid waste management and how they are doing their part in really building awareness to the youth. And I think that's a great initiative.
Excellent, excellent. Menelik, weigh in here.
Alright. I would say that environmental awareness should be taught more often in school. That's the first thing I would like to say. But at the end of it, do when people does throw sweetie papers, snacks, papers, plastics in the environment, do they actually know how long does it take to decay in the soil? How much years it takes before we break them, and this could damage the soil also. So I would just say not just in schools but in other places. I would say like advertisements, even though people might not pay much attention, but let us teach the people how much important it is important to protect the environment.
Excellent. We'll keep that going. Denison.
Well, I believe that there's a deep spiritual issue when it comes to a simple, not a simple, a complex issue as environmental pollution. We come from a history where, since the creation, men were naturally given that push towards dominating, but also respecting the environment, right? Just by what God told Adam, tend to the garden, tend to the, subdue the earth is yours, and so on. They had dominance, but they had that natural push towards living in peace with the environment, protecting the environment. Throughout history, throughout centuries and centuries of history, men, regardless of whether it was Christian, Judea, Buddhism, whatever belief system that was set up within society, there was always that innate respect for the environment. Whether they call it Mother Earth, but there's always that level of respect. The Bible says that in the last days, men will become lovers of themselves, and we see that we're in a generation where men are really unintentionally lovers of themselves. Men have moved away. I think that believe in a higher power, that believe in, as we know us to be truth of God, a holy God who made me. I'm part of something bigger. I'm part of a creation. I'm part of something whole. I understand that I fit into this world, and I'm not the one who is the ruler, the creator of this world. So I live within that understanding of it. We moved to a generation that believes in themselves, right? That believes that they are the center of the world. They are the dominant creature. The creature. They are the creators, right? And a selfish mindset that says that I do everything to the benefit of me.
Yeah.
And these are the ones who are running and who are operating on in the world per se. And we see the effect of it because um, to just say to somebody that if you don't throw away plastics, you'll be saving the earth, right? The first question you have to ask: are they interested in that? Right? Is that something that drives their consciousness, or do they have a moral alignment to see that as something that is bad? And that's why I see a lot of people decide, well, I'll just pass it on to the next generation because I'm more focused on pleasing myself and pleasing who I am. And so you made a very important statement that there needs to be a change, a transformation of mindsets for us, for a lot of people, for us to see some real change. And I think it was Melanie that talks about awareness, right? Teaching others, letting people know that hey, there is a different way of thinking. It's not just about me. It's not just about what I can do to satisfy myself, but as you say, the gospel of Jesus Christ is so amazing how the truth of Christ can change a man's mind and change a man's understanding. And it to just to position that against how we think in terms of the environment. How are we willing to change our mind and our understanding to have a change of our lives and change of the way we behave? So I believe that we have to know the times that we are in, a time when men are thinking of themselves, consume, consume, consume. But we cannot throw in the towel and say, well, these are how people are, so let's just follow them. But we have to stand up and say, what can we do to just as how we stand up and say, how can we preach the gospel in these times when men are just lovers of themselves? How can we inform? How can we engage? How can we educate persons so that they will understand the part that they play towards saving our environment? I think that's something we have to consider.
Very well said, Denison. Johan, take it home on this one.
Well, I started by saying a possible apocalyptic end. And I will bring this up here because Jesus also said that no man, not him included, knows the time or place that God will say, that's it for us. And the Bible in the Old Testament, you see numerous cases where God said, I'll go mash all you up. I'm trying to speak our language. Yeah? And people changed their ways. And he relented his might against us. Yeah. So I am saying I am a hopeful. I am a very positive thinking person. And I'm going to give you a statistic that happened last year, where 10,000 young people between the ages of 16 and 25 were interviewed. And 58% of them said there was no hope and they saw no future for humanity. That is very stark. And as a father of 3 daughters, I can say I cannot and will not stand by and accept those odds. And I say it is up to all us parents to have this honorable responsibility to wanting a better future for our children, to get involved and to say, let us see how we can install hope, because hope is a key part of what the Lord puts forward for us. And then if you are there as a Christian, you will understand that it is love your neighbor like yourself. Now, if you love your neighbor, and if you really love your neighbor, you would not be doing the sort of things that you are doing right now in terms of being all about myself and nobody else. Yeah. And you would change your ways or look to change your ways. And that is the platform from which we stand. I believe and I encourage everybody else to stand up and let yourselves be heard too. Because yes, we can. We can make this change. And we can go about this way to make it a better place for us as Christians in this world. So that is my 2 pence. Oh, Nadia, give so much 2 pence here.
Yeah, well,
Excellent. And definitely agree with that one. So we're just about out of time. So what I'll do, I'll just give everyone an opportunity, closing statements, final word that you want to leave with our viewers or listeners across the platforms. What's that one salient thing that you wanna leave with them? So I'll start with you, Menelik. Then we'll take Trevor and Denison, and I'll give you one more opportunity to leave us with a short sermon.
Well, I don't need to take. All right. So while you were speaking, something just came to mind. So I just want to say this: you're not wise in thine own eyes, but fear the Lord and depart from evil. That just touched me while you were speaking. So I just want to say that.
All right, excellent. Over to you, Trevor.
Yes, I'll keep it brief and I'll just say that humanity has created a problem and we're also the solution. So do not feel as if your contribution is invalid or in any way insufficient. Do the work, do what you know you have to do, and we will all see a change. Yes.
Excellent. Over to you, Denison.
well, I just want to say the earth is a lot and the fullness thereof. And once we have that mindset, we cannot get overwhelmed. One of the things that happened to me when I just got into this, I got overwhelmed and I was like, wow, I was doomsday thinking. And then I realized that at the end of the day, as you once said, no man knows the hour, but the Father God knows the hour. And he's the one that is in control. I always have to reaffirm myself that God is the one that is in control. So I will do my part here, but I will leave the rest to God. I just want to leave one last statistics for us to understand every time we desire to have a certain type of lifestyle that we see on television or so. It says that if everybody in the world was to live like America, the kind of life that America lives, we will need 7 planets to sustain that kind of lifestyle. So just live within your quarters, live within what you have, and just know that we are all responsible, but we all have the solution by every action, every decision that we make regarding how we live and how we impact the environment.
Excellent. And final thoughts from you, Johan.
Well, I'll make a little plug here. As I said, we're going around the world, 195 and 365.com. I'm asking Grenadians and actually the world out there, those people who would like to do more and get involved, please get in touch. Let's see how, with volunteerism, we can make a bigger difference in making this a better world, because that is my burning, humble desire as a citizen of this world, yeah, to leave a better world for my children. And I believe, as Obama teeth it for me, yes, we can.
Excellent. So thank you very much, panelists. Thank you very much, listeners. It's been an excellent evening. Thank you very much for joining us. It's ISCF Connect. Remember, it's the first Friday in each month on right here on Hope FM. So I'll turn back over to DJ Christchild, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right. Thank you very much, Russell. And just before we go, because we wrapping it up, I just want to draw your attention to 3 things. First, I want to encourage each and every person that if you know somebody who is going to school, secondary school or TAM CC, invite them out to ISCF, right? Inter-school Christian Fellowship. Our focus is to getting Christ into the schools, students, leading students, to Christ. So invite them to join the ISCF group within the school. If you're a teacher, you're in a school, you're a teacher, ask about how you can be a part of ISCF, how you can be a teacher sponsor. You will not be the one have to run around and do everything. You just basically there to guide, because we believe that we empower students to empower students. All right. Second thing, I want to encourage our young ones who are here, the Melanic and Trevor, and well, Jada left, to, if you have a passion for environment, there's a group called the Caribbean Youth Environment Network, which is for young people who are interested in pushing doing advocacy for the environment. You can reach out. Well, if you want to reach out to me, I can pass you on so you can be a part of that as well. And finally, I want to, well, I know it started already, but we have Kingdom Vibes tonight, right? We have Kingdom Vibes tonight. Down at is it Grenadian? Something Grenadian. They changed the name of this place, eh? Fox Inn. Fox Inn. I'll get the name of the place soon. Right. So we have Kingdom Vibes tonight. That's where DJ Sabi and the squad is there right now. Right. Let me get the name of the place. It's called Point Saline Hotel. Yes, there's a new name. Point Saline Hotel. Originally known as Fox Inn. It started already. It starts at 7 p.m. But I mean, they're still down there. I'm going down there when I'm finished here. So we see you down there at Kingdom Vibes, a time where we just fellowship. There's karaoke, there's music, there is games, So get down there, $10 entry, and we have a wonderful time. So I just want to thank Russell. He's in studio. You have to be back here. It's not the same. I know you realize it's not the same being behind the behind the computer than being in studio. All right, so we had a wonderful time. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to all the ISCF members and those from CCF. Johan, thank you for being on. Trevor, and we just pray that God will continue to bless you. All right, continue to have His way in your life. And so as we shut it off, we want to thank you all for coming on. Thanks to all the listeners, and we pray that you have a blessed best night, and we will see you tomorrow night. We have Hope on the Hill. We have our lineup for Saturday as usual. So we hope to see you guys as we continue to lift up the name of Jesus Christ. Have a wonderful night.
There are so many times when I don't have a dime.